800 years ago, a man in Konya whispered words that today sound like quantum revelation. He said, "The wound is where the light enters you." Back then it was poetry. Today, it is physics. Because now we know. When matter breaks, it releases energy. When an atom splits, light is born. And when the human heart cracks, awareness flows through. Rumi wasn't just a poet. He was a scientist of the soul. He spoke in metaphors that modern science is only now beginning to decode. In quantum theory, everything we see, the chair, the stars, your hand, is made of vibrating energy. Rumi said, "We are not a drop in the ocean. We are the ocean in a drop." To him, the soul was not inside the body. The body was inside the soul. Physicists today echo the same. Matter is not solid. It's a field of probabilities, waves of potential. You and I are not static forms. We are frequencies, collapsing into existence each moment we're observed. Rumi felt that truth centuries before particle physics had words for it. He looked inward and saw what science would later see through telescopes and equations. That the same light that burns in a star flickers in you. When Rumi said, "The wound is where the light enters you," he was not speaking only of pain. He was describing transformation. In the subatomic world, when stability breaks, when atoms are disturbed, they emit light. Creation requires disruption. Perfection cracks before it shines. Our emotional wounds act the same way. The breaking of certainty releases awareness. Consciousness itself becomes luminous. In physics, this is energy. In Rumi's world, this is love. Modern physics tells us that two particles once connected remain entangled, even across galaxies. Touch one, and the other responds instantly. Rumi wrote, "Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along." To him, separation was an illusion. Love, he said, is the unseen thread that binds the universe. Quantum entanglement proved it. Science now agrees. The universe is not a collection of parts, but an inseparable whole. Every particle, every heartbeat, every beam of light echoes one consciousness, one rhythm. Rumi called it divine unity. Physicists call it the quantum field. Rumi said, "We come whirling out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust." Today, scientists know that every atom vibrates. The entire cosmos is a symphony of frequencies. What Rumi heard in his heart, string theorists describe in mathematics, that everything is sound. Everything sings. In his dance, the Sema, Rumi mirrored the movement of the cosmos. The dervish spins as planets spin, turning chaos into rhythm, disorder into divine order. His dance was a living model of atomic motion, centuries before we knew atoms even existed. In quantum mechanics, observation changes reality. A particle behaves differently when it's being watched, implying that awareness itself shapes the universe. Rumi said, "The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are." To him, the observer and the observed were one. There was no out there. Reality, he believed, was the reflection of the consciousness that perceives it. What physicists discovered with microscopes, Rumi discovered with meditation. 800 years ago, Rumi saw the atom in the soul and the soul in the atom. He described the universe as light breaking into love, and love collapsing back into light. Science now describes this in energy, spin, and frequency. But Rumi, he described it in poetry. Because he knew something science is only beginning to remember. That knowledge is not complete until it feels like love. "Stop acting so small," he said. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. In quantum mechanics, there is a mystery called the observer effect. Particles behave differently when we look at them, suggesting that consciousness is not separate from the physical world. Rumi said, "The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are." He saw that the observer and the observed are one, that the universe is the self reflected, that every perception is a mirror of consciousness itself. When you open your eyes, you do not just see the world, you create it. The same force that lights the stars lights your awareness. Science can measure it. Rumi could feel it. In the 13th century, there were no words for atoms, photons, or frequency, but Rumi knew them by intuition. He saw the dance of electrons in the flicker of a candle, the birth of light in every act of love. He said, "There are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. There are 1,000 ways to go home again." And what is home? Not a place, but awareness itself. That state where science and spirit finally meet, where equations become poetry, and poetry becomes truth. Modern physicists now tell us that energy never dies, it only changes form. Rumi said, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form." He understood conservation of energy long before Einstein did. He also understood relativity, not in formula, but in essence. He said, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." That field is what scientists now call the unified field, the infinite, vibrating medium of energy that connects everything. Rumi walked that field with every verse. Rumi's universe was alive, a conscious, radiant web where every soul, every particle, and every photon sings in tune with the beloved. He didn't separate science from spirit, reason from love, or matter from meaning. To him, they were one continuous conversation between the Creator and creation. 800 years later, our technology has finally caught up with his vision. We can now photograph atoms, map galaxies, and simulate consciousness. But still, we are catching up to what he felt. Because Rumi's laboratory was the heart, and the instruments he used were silence, surrender, and love. He said, "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion." And now, as we stand on the edge of quantum discovery, we find ourselves echoing Rumi's truth. That light is not only around us, it is us. That the wound, the crack, the particle, and the poem are all ways for the infinite to know itself. 800 years ago, he saw it clearly. Science is only now catching up.